So many people start something new and they're full of energy, full of excitement, full of optimism, but then their execution falls short and they never actually hit their goal. This episode is to make sure that is not your story. I'm sharing my top 5 pieces of advice for anybody starting their 10WT or really just any big goal in their life. These are going to be habits, mindsets, and strategies that are going to help you make the difference between falling off and not actually executing to finally following through and achieving your goal. All right, you guys, the time has come around again. It is week 1 of a new 10-week transformation. I am so pumped. I always get so fired up in week 1. I get so fired up when I see the excitement from other people about the hopefulness about achieving their goal. I get so fired up when I see people walk in for the very first time of their very first 10-week transformation. Again, kind of eager, a little bit nervous, but excited because they know that this program is going to be different than anything they've done before because of the work they've had to do in preparation and anticipation to begin this thing. And I wanted to do this episode because I don't want that excitement to go to waste. I don't want that excitement, that optimism, that hopefulness to go down the drain when you don't ultimately achieve your goal, because I am here to get you results. I am here to get you to where you want to be. I am here to allow you to make progress, to get closer to the best version of yourself, for you to look the way you want to look, feel the way you want to feel, have the energy that you want to have, and have the confidence that you want to have. And so this episode is going to be my words of advice to you beginning the 10-week transformation. You're in week 1. If you take these words to heart and you really apply them and implement them, I promise it's going to make a world of difference in terms of your execution and therefore in terms of your results. And look, if you're not actually doing the 10-week transformation right now, these are principles that can apply to any goal that you're attacking in any area of life. I'm proud to say that we had the goal of getting a total of 64 people across the 4 time slots of the 10-week transformation this time, and we were saved by the bell. We got 65 people. We had 2 people sign up in the last number of hours, available to sign up. And so super pumped. And I say that not to like brag that we got a certain number of people. I say that because the strategies that I'm getting ready to share with you guys, the pieces of advice that I'm getting ready to share with you guys are ones that I have applied with that goal and previous goals as well that I've seen come to fruition, and I've seen the goals been achieved. So I really want you to take notes, write these down. I'm telling you, the 5th and final one is going to be the most helpful, the most practical, and one that you're going to want to remember on a week-by-week basis. So make sure you stay around for that 5th and final one. But for now, this is the 5 pieces of advice for you to crush your 10WT or really any goal that you're beginning to attack. Step number 1 is be clear and confident about your process. One of the things that everybody has to do in the 10-week transformation before getting to step in the door in week 1 is they have to go through a process called the 5 steps to goal success. And a major part of that process is getting clear about what are the weekly habits that I think will allow me to make progress on my goal. What are the 2 or 3 most important things that I can leverage that if I do them consistently, I really feel like will move the needle? And you want to come up with things that you really feel like are going to work. And you want to come up with things that you really feel like you're going to do. So, for example, I've shared these things like this a decent amount in the 10-week transformation. But if the goal is to lose 10 pounds, then maybe your weekly goals are, I want to eat 16 out of 21 meals as healthy meals this week. Maybe I want to work out 4 times a week for an hour, and I want to walk 10,000 steps a day, 6 days a week. If you can do those 3 things every single week for 10 weeks in a row, you will make progress. And so the idea is, what are those 3 things for you? Whether it's a health and fitness goal, what are those 3 things for you? Whether it's a financial goal, what are those 3 things for you? If you're looking to improve your relationship with your significant other, what are those 3 things for you? If you just kind of off the tip of your finger, off the tip of your tongue, just try by the seat of your pants, like try to come up with random things that you think might work and don't really put too much thought and effort and time into it, then you're not going to have all that much confidence that it's going to yield and produce the results that you want it to produce. But if you really sit down and think, what are the needle movers? What are the repeatable habits? Because these things should be repeatable, not just something that you do once. These things are the repeatable habits. Okay, what do I need to do on a regular basis week after week after week in order to move the needle on this goal. For me, in order to get 64 people across the 10-week transformations, I set the goal of wanting to make at least 15 calls to either current clients, old clients, or prospective clients on a weekly basis. If you're listening to this, that one of those calls may have been to you, and that was part of my goal, to check in with people and see where they were currently at. And so what are those repeatable behaviors for you? If you're clear on that and you're confident it's going to work, that'll make all the difference. The last thing I want to say about this is I didn't tell myself to make 100 calls because that wasn't workable. I use the word work. When I use the word workable, that means it's either an activity or an amount of an activity that you feel like you're willing and able to do based off of what you've been willing and able to do in the past. So let me break that down. An activity or the amount of an activity. So for example, I was willing to make calls, so I was willing to do the activity of making calls. But was I willing to do 100? No, I wasn't willing to do 100 of that amount. What was the amount? So I came up with 15 as kind of my number that I felt like 15 would be enough to help me achieve my goal, but wasn't too much to make it unrealistic, if you will. So for example, if you're trying to get more steps in, if you're trying to tell yourself to walk 15,000 steps a day, and currently you're getting like 4,000 steps a day, well, the likelihood that you're going to go from 4K to 15K just like that overnight, just because you're starting a 10-week transformation, is probably very little. And so you want to come up with an amount that is workable for you. And if you're like, I'm not even willing to do steps, then don't do that at all. So if the activity is not right, don't try to do the activity. If the amount is not right, adjust the amount to where it's something that you're willing and able to do. So number one is be very clear and confident about your process. Number two, and this is probably the number one piece of advice that other people who have done the 10-week transformation before give to new people who are starting their first 10-week transformation, and it's this: update your scoreboard daily. So everybody who's doing the 10-week transformation has a scoreboard where they're tracking those weekly habits and saying whether or not they did those things. And I would say the number one reason why it's important is because it reminds you, every single one of you listening right now, you've got a lot going on. If you listen to the Best You podcast, it's because you're a go-getter. It's because you probably wear yourself a little bit too thin too much. And that shouldn't be worn with a badge of honor, but you probably do that a little bit. And so you have all these things going on, all these distractions, all these things dividing for your attention and seeking your attention. And so you need something to bring you back to center to tell you this is important, this is important, this is important. And so if you have a scoreboard telling you to eat 16 out of 21 healthy meals, get your 4 workouts in, get your 10,000 steps in, and you look at that on a daily basis, it's going to be more at the forefront of your mind. This is completely different topic, but for example, when you go to church on Sunday, what is one of the many reasons why you might go to church? To bring you back to center, to remind you the type of person that you wish to become, the type of person that you wish to act as you go throughout your week. Just a weekly reminder to get you back to center, like, hey, this is the type of person I want to be. And it reminds me. Now, all of us usually forget by Monday morning, but and we sin and all that kind of stuff. But this is a religious podcast episode. But my point is that we need different things present in our lives to remind us of what is most important. And that's one of the top reasons for a scoreboard. Another reason is because it's motivation. When you see the needle moving, when you see yourself getting your workouts in, getting your steps in, eating the healthy meals, that's motivation. Like, hey, I'm making progress. Another thing is it provides you with feedback. It provides you with like, okay, I'm doing the things. Is it moving the needle? If it is, great. Let's keep going. If it's not, okay, we got to change the game plan. If you're watching your favorite team play football at halftime, if they're winning, they go into the locker room and they like, okay, our game plan is working. We need to keep doing this, this, and this. If you go into the locker room and you're getting crushed, you're like, okay, this game plan was not working. We have to change this, this, and this. And so a scoreboard is great for feedback, both positive and negative. So that's the second big tip, is update your scoreboard daily. Again, that's if you're doing the 10-week transformation or any other goal that you might have. If you don't have a scoreboard, it's not even a goal. If you don't have a scoreboard, the stakes of your game are so low. So you have to keep track of things if you're really trying to take your goal seriously. So number 2 is update your scoreboard daily. Number 3, and this is basically specifically to you 10-week transformation participants and or specifically to people seeking a fitness goal. Number 3 is, well, it's really not actually just that. Sorry, segue. Is you're stronger than you think you are. The way that I'm going to talk about it is specifically from a fitness standpoint, though. You're stronger than you think you are. And this is especially to people who are maybe on their first or their second 10-week transformation. Oftentimes people come in thinking, I'm going to get hurt. I'm scared to hurt myself. I think this exercise is going to hurt me. It's like you are far less likely to get injured than you think. People are more likely to get injured because they're weak and they don't do anything than by actually doing something. It's more of doing things the wrong way. And like me as a fitness trainer, the last thing I want you to do is get hurt, right? Because I want you coming back and coming back and coming back and staying consistent and getting results. And so the absolute last thing, the absolute worst thing that could happen for me as your coach is you getting injured. And so I'm going to do everything in my power so you don't get injured. And so oftentimes I'll look at one of my clients and I'll say, is that the right weight choice for you? And I think some of them think, oh, he wants me to go heavier. It's like, I'm not asking you, I'm actually just asking you, like, is that the right weight choice for you? Because sometimes you should not be going heavier, and sometimes you know you should, and you're just not. And so I'm not telling you to go heavier. I'm just asking you. If I do tell you to go up in weight, it's because I'm confident that you can do it and that you probably should do it. I'm not just telling you to go heavier just for the sake of like making it harder on you and making it so you hurt. That would be a dumb thing to do as a trainer. I think keep in mind that I am trying to continually find the balance for you of pushing you just a little bit past your comfort zone, and then a little bit past your comfort zone, and then just a little bit past your comfort zone. If you've never picked up a barbell before, and I'm not going to immediately throw 45s on each side and tell you to go squat it or tell you to go bench it, right? Like I'm going to gradually work you up. And so the idea is to ramp up slowly but surely. And so especially in the 10-week transformation, right? Like there's a number of people that I'm trying to work with, so I can't provide personalized attention to every single one of you at all given points in time. So try not to let the psychology of I'm not strong enough hold you back from picking up a weight or doing something that you actually could do, but you just have a self-limiting belief and you hold yourself back. So don't let your gains be prevented by self-limiting beliefs. You're stronger than you think you are. That's number 3. Remember, number 5 is probably the most important and practical one. That is something you want to do on a weekly basis. But we're on number 4. Number 4 is self-correct quickly. And this is really a mindset shift. So many people have the all or nothing mindset. They think, I got to be perfect over these next 10 weeks. A lot of people go into a 10-week transformation really thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to be perfect these next 10 weeks. I'm going to crush it. I'm going to hit every single workout. I'm going to hit every single meal. I'm going to do every single thing perfectly on a week-to-week basis. I've got this. The likelihood that you are going to do it perfectly is basically 0%. And so it's not about being perfect. It's about when you're imperfect, self-correcting quickly. It's about if you miss a workout, don't miss the next one. If you have an unhealthy meal, make it healthy the next one. If you have a bad week, oh boy, get back on track the next week. Don't turn one back week into 2, into 3, into 4. And so it's a mindset thing. Look, it's not about putting in the past. It's just about moving on. Because I think it's a different mindset shift. It's not about like not looking at it and just throwing it away. If you had a bad week, assess what happened, learn from it, and let it be feedback for how to improve moving forward. So number 4 piece of advice is self-correct quickly. Super important mindset shift. Self-correct quickly. Before I dive into the 5th and final one, I want to let you guys know that the next Best You Retreat is going to happen from January 8th to 11th. That's a Thursday through a Sunday. I actually have the shirt on at Buffalo River Resort. It's about an hour west of Nashville. And y'all, we've done 2 in 2025, and I'm pumped to do probably another 2 at least in 2026. We'll do one in January, and we'll probably do one again in the summer. But this one's from the 8th to 11th. There is no better time to get into a different physical space, to get into a different headspace, to get clear on your goals as we're talking about goals for 2026. At the very beginning of the year, this is an opportunity for you to do something that you would not do on your own, because let's be honest, you're not going to do it on your own, to set aside the time to spend a day, 2 days, a number of hours to really get in the frame of mind and being like, what do I want to accomplish this year? Let's look at the seasons of my life, the season of the life that I'm currently in, my health, my personal life, my career, my finances, my spiritual life, my relationships. Where am I at in those areas? And how do I want to move the needle in those areas over the next 12 months? That's exactly what we're going to do at the Best You Retreat. The registration is not open yet, but be on the lookout. Follow me on Instagram. Listen to the podcast, and we'll be announcing information about registration and signups coming soon. But January 8th to 11th, put it on your calendar so that you don't have the excuse of, oh, I have something. Put it on your calendar. Okay, the fifth and final and probably most important piece of advice to crush your next 10-week transformation is the following. Drum roll, please. Da, 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 da. Don't be lazy with your weekly planning. Don't be lazy with your weekly planning. I think oftentimes what I see in the 10-week transformation, what I tend to see oftentimes is the first week or two, people get really good at planning their pills. First week or 2 or 3, people are pretty darn specific at planning their pills. But then they get a little bit lazier and a little bit lazier, and they just kind of rinse and repeat the same things, but don't really allocate enough time to really look at their calendar and put themselves in the right headspace to be like, what do I need to do to set myself up for success? Because when it comes down to goal setting, why most people fail is not because they don't know what to do. It's because they don't do what they know. It's not knowing what to do. It's doing what you know. It's not common sense. It's common practice. And so what can close the gap between knowing what to do and doing what you know? It's preparation. It's setting aside some time, either the Friday before the weekend or the Saturday or the Sunday, to really think about the upcoming week and ask yourself a few questions. And I'm going to give you the 4 questions that I think are most powerful to help you really navigate your preparation in a way that's most effective. Number 1 is, what can I do to increase the likelihood that I hit my weekly goals this week? Again, to go back to the example that I mentioned earlier, the goal is to eat 16 healthy meals a week, 4 workouts a week, and walk 10,000 steps a day. If somebody says, I want to eat 16 healthy meals a week, and then you ask, okay, what do I need to do this week to increase the likelihood that I do that? Maybe you think, I need to go to the grocery store on Sunday, and then I need to go again on Thursday. Or maybe you know that a few of your healthy meals are going to be out at restaurants, and to not fall subject to impulse decisions at the restaurant, you need to look at the restaurant menu ahead of time before you actually go. Those are examples of pills, of planning, of preparation, so that you set yourself up for success. So number 1, question-wise, is what can I do to increase the likelihood that I hit this goal? Number 2 is, what can I do to make it easier that I hit this goal? If we're staying on the healthy meals train, I actually literally got this text from a client about 3 hours ago. If you're the client listening, this is a great example. The text from my client literally 3 hours ago said this: win for the freaking week. Packed my lunch for a long work day. For whatever reason, I always avoid this on Tuesdays. No clue why, really, haha. And just throw some almonds and beef sticks in my bag. And then I'm ravenous at 3. So what did she do? She packed her lunch for the long work day. And oftentimes it's like, yeah, no crap. But we oftentimes don't do it, and then we fall subject to having a few almonds and beef sticks, and then later on we're ravenous, and then we snack on things maybe we shouldn't be snacking on, or we have a dessert, or we have a larger dinner than we normally would. And so you're not setting yourself up for success. So what can you do to make it easier to hit the goal? Maybe pack your lunch ahead of time. Obviously, there's a number of different examples as well. The third question is, what can I do to make it more fun to hit this goal? I have a couple who is doing the 10-week transformation together this time around, and I got a selfie from them that was a picture with them with a treadmill in their trunk. And she said she found a treadmill on Facebook Marketplace, so now there's no excuse to not get steps in. And it made me think about, like, if you have a treadmill in your house, it's convenient, but then you can also, like, if you're just trying to get steps in, you can put on your favorite Netflix show. You can watch YouTube. You can read a book. You can do whatever it is that you really enjoy. And so getting in your 10,000 steps doesn't have to be a pain in the ass. It doesn't have to just be a nuisance. You can actually do something that makes it more fun. So the third question is, what can I do to make it more fun to hit this goal? And then the fourth and final question that might be the most powerful is basically a question about anticipating excuses and eliminating them. So I like to think about, okay, if my goal is to get in 4 workouts this week, and let's say it's Sunday morning and I'm planning out my week, and let's kind of forecast myself down the road. If I'm sitting here again next Sunday and I didn't get my 4 workouts in, what would my excuse be? And so maybe I'm looking at my calendar and I'd be like, okay, I'm planning to work out on Sunday after church. I know that after church, I don't really like to go change and do workout clothes because then I have to shower again afterwards. And who knows what my kids are going to want to do after church. And I oftentimes make the excuse of I'm not going to do it after church. And so, okay, maybe I need to wake up a little bit earlier on Sunday to get it done. Okay, I want to wake up earlier on Sunday to get it done, but on Saturday I have this outing that I'm going to, a party that I'm going to, a dinner that I'm going to, that I usually drink at. Maybe I need to ensure that I have 3 or less drinks on Saturday so that I can wake up earlier on Sunday and get it in. So you can anticipate the excuse of like, I know I'm not really going to want to do it after church, and I know I need to wake up and feel good, and so I'm going to have to eliminate the excuse of not feeling good to wake up and drink less alcohol on Saturday. I just made up a scenario, but that's the kind of thought process that we need to go through. When you can anticipate the excuse ahead of time, you can eradicate the potential, you can eradicate the actuality of it presenting itself in the future. So unsuccessful people react, but successful people forecast, and they anticipate what they need to do in order to be successful. I hope these pieces of advice you found powerful, you found helpful. If you are doing the 10-week transformation and you are currently in week 1, I promise you, I have seen over 1,000 people now go through the 10-week transformation. I know what works. If you can do these things on a regular basis, if you can be clear and confident about your process, that's something that you have already needed to do. And if you have not done, get on it now. The second one was update your scoreboard daily. We need to do that on a regular basis. If not daily, like every other day. The third one, you're stronger than you think you are. That's a mindset shift that's super important. Don't hold yourself back because of self-limiting beliefs. Number 4, self-correct quickly. As Ted Lasso says, have a mind like a goldfish. Short-term memory. Move on. Move on. Don't turn one bad day into 2. Don't turn one bad week into 2. And then lastly, don't be lazy with your weekly planning. Preparation is the absolute key to setting yourself up for success. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. If you enjoyed this one and you're actually starting the 10-week transformation, I'd recommend you watch this video about if you're not seeing strength gains in the gym, this is what you need to stop doing, and this is what you need to start doing. So you can watch this video. If you're watching on YouTube, we'll have it pop up. If not, we'll have it in the show notes on Spotify or Apple Podcast app. And also, remember, put it on your radar, put it on your calendar. The Best You Retreat is happening January 8th to 11th, 2026. We're going to kick off 2026 in the best way possible so you can feel clear and confident about the process of your life, and you can organize the chaos and organize the different areas and feel really good about how you're going to attack the year. So put it on your radar. We'll talk about registration and everything like that here in the coming weeks. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Like this video on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts app or Spotify, hit the follow button there as well. Appreciate you guys joining and listening. Let's put these things into action so that we can make our goals a reality, so we can get closer to the healthiest version of ourselves and ultimately closer and closer to your best you.